Hello everyone, today we'll be seeing how fast Plusle can beat Pokemon Platinum in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. Later in the week we will be playing the game with Minun, its counterpart, but today we need to see what kind of Pokemon Plusle is. We have 60 HP, 50 attack, 40 defense, 85 special attack, 75 special defense, and 95 speed. We're also in the medium fast level up group. We're not going to be gaining levels the fastest early on, but if we need a high level in the endgame, it will help a lot. And also, I had no idea our speed and special attack was that high. I honestly kind of thought that Plusle was going to be like one of those bad, no evolution first stages that gets terrible stats, kind of like Farfetch'd. But no, this thing is kind of decent in terms of stats. But then again, what's a good stat pool without a good move pool? We start off with Growl and Thunder Wave, which is already not a good start. We're going to have to struggle train to level 7 to get Quick Attack. And then after that, we get Helping Hand, which is useless. Spark, Encore, Fake Tears, Copycat, Swift, Fake Tears again, Charge, Thunder, Baton Pass, Agility, Last Resort, and Nasty Plot. Nasty Plot is honestly one of the best setup moves in Pokemon history. This move raises your special attack by 2 stages. This is going to be an incredible move, but we're going to have to wait a while until we have access to it. Plus, it is a little unfortunate that our first electric move, Spark, is a physical move, which does not use our better special attacking stat. If we don't use any TMs, our first actual special attacking electric move is Thunder at level 38. But we can just pick up the Shockwave TM just before the 4th gym, so it honestly won't be a big deal, but in the early game it's definitely going to be annoying. But what's going to be more annoying is that we have to take on Rourke as the first gym leader, and I don't know if you need me to explain this, but we really don't have a good moveset for him. But while I do all the training in the surrounding areas in preparation for Rourke, let's look at the TM list. Our TM list is honestly pretty dang small. But some decent coverage options that we get are Hidden Power if we chose to go with it, and then we can also get Iron Tail for some reason, then Thunderbolt, Thunder, Shockwave, Return, Rest, Fling, Charge Beam, Thunder Wave, and Grass Knot. It is honestly kind of surprising this thing gets Grass Knot. Maybe it could be useful for a bunch of hikers, maybe useful for Byron? We'll see. And something that really isn't giving me confidence in things is that we haven't even gotten to Oreburgh City yet, and I have over 5 resets. The main reason for this is that we're pretty much forced to use Return as our best damaging move early on, and at only 82 friendship, this move is basically under 40 power. It's like barely as good as Quick Attack. So yeah, it's not going to be the best, and it's just something we have to deal with. As soon as I defeat all of the trainers in the Oreburgh Mine and escape rope out, I'm only at level 12. And I'm still not feeling great about my chances. So what I choose to do is actually just go to the grass on Route 207 and start training. There are actually some decent encounters here. We could get Geodude, which honestly I shouldn't even bother fighting because Return is not good on them. It's like a 7-shot on some of them. But there is also Machop and actually a slight chance to find Ponyta. Ponyta, surprisingly, give very, very good experience yields for a first stage Pokemon, so the more of those I can defeat, the better. You may be wondering, since I'm forced to grind here, do I at least get any good EVs? Well, Geodude and Kricketot give 1 defense, and the Machop give 1 attack EV. The attack EVs will definitely help because we're pretty much going to have to use physical coverage on Rourke, but the Ponyta here give us 1 speed EV. Honestly, Plusle does not need speed EVs. I only really want to fight Ponyta for the experience yields. I continue training in the grass until I get level 18, and I decide to try my luck against some of these gym trainers. I am also at 135 friendship, so Return is definitely doing more damage than Quick Attack. The threshold that I like to remember when calculating the Return stats in my head is always friendship divided by 2.5. What I just remember is if it's under 170 power, it's weaker than Headbutt. And since Headbutt is 70 power, that means our Return is probably somewhere in the mid-50s range. Still better than Quick Attack, but as you can see on these Geodude, It is still not the best of moves, but we do have a few other options. I mean, Spark is completely useless except for the Cranidos, but we also do have Encore. This may provide a really niche strategy for Rourke. I do get a reset on this gym trainer right here with the Onyx, but that was mainly because I ran out of power points, so I'm forced to go back to the center and heal. And now with Darius defeated, I can go ahead and heal back up again. I did deposit all my HM users because I am going to keep blackout training against Rourke until I eventually win. So before I do that, I go to the mart and just spend all of my money, because if I'm having to do blackout training, I am going to lose pretty much all of my life savings. I'm going to be making Rourke pretty wealthy, but not if I don't make myself poor first. Anyway, let's go see how many tries it takes to defeat the first gym leader, Rourke. Rourke leads off with his Geodude, and return looks like it's doing like a 8th, I'd say, and Rock Throw is doing an extremely decent amount of damage. And I end up blacking out against the first Geodude on the first attempt, so I basically gained no experience from that. And after realizing that, I probably should have just gone to the grass and heal some more, but part of me decided, you know what, I think that's a fluke. Let's go ahead and just keep trying. But something I am trying to fish for is for the Geodude to use Stealth Rock, because if I can get the Geodude to go for Stealth Rock turn 1, then I can trap it with Encore and defeat it more consistently. But even on the second try, he never once went for it. And after this, I decided to go train in the grass some more. I come back to this fight at level 21, so I've gained 3 more levels over another damage rounding threshold. I am finally able to get the Geodude to use Stealth Rock, and I'm able to trap it in Encore. And here's the great thing, if the Encore runs out, I can actually just use Encore again and trap it, but I forget to do this. Oh well, at least I knocked out the Geodude. Then on the Onyx, it used Screech on me. I forgot to actually do this. When it used Screech, I should have also used Encore, so that way all it can do is spam Screech. But that does provide a huge problem for the Cranidos, because if I get to the Cranidos at -6 defense, I am honestly going to get one-shot. But this is pretty much the best strat that Plusle can do. And at 7 resets into the run, I defeat the Geodude and get to the Cranidos. So now I can go ahead and use Spark, and it lives on 1 hit point. Dude, seriously? You suck, man. Fortunately though, on the next attempt, I'm able to get to the Cranidos missing only 4 hit points. I go ahead and use Spark, it lives, and despite being at -6 defense, Headbutt is not able to kill me, and Plusle finally defeats Rourke, and I can get the Coal Badge. I am really hoping things get better from here, but we all know dang well it isn't. I head my way up to Floroma Town and go to the Valley Windworks. Here, I need to defeat my next mandatory fight against the Commander Mars. I'm not too worried about this fight because I do have Spark for the Zubat, and it'll do decent damage to the Plusle. Plus, I could use the Encore strategy on her. If I can get her to turn 1 Fake Out and then Encore, it'll just pretty much never be able to attack me. Let's see if I can pull this off. On the Mars fight, Spark one-shots the Zubat, and then the Plusle goes for turn 1 Fake Out because she pretty much almost always does, and she's not able to land a single hit on me, and Plusle ends up leveling up to 23 and Mars is defeated. Honestly, I did not know this, but Encore ended up being a major MVP in this run. If this Pokemon did not learn Encore, I would probably still be grinding at Rourke right now. So honestly, I need to appreciate this move in the future. If I ever do a first stage Pokemon with Encore, I should really consider it. And now with Mars defeated, we have our eyes set on the second gym leader Gardenia. But before I get to her though, I fight most of the trainers leading up to the Eterna Forest and inside the Eterna Forest as well as the surrounding areas of Eterna City. I enter the grass gym at level 26. I do have the Soothe Bell equipped, which Cheryl gives you as a reward for getting her to the end of the Eterna Forest. This will make my friendship grow twice as fast, and with Return, this is definitely a good item to hold on to. Plus, my friendship is now 176, so now Return is at least a 70 power move, which is definitely really good. The main reason I've always had to memorize the threshold of 170 or higher is better than Headbutt is mainly from my Crystal days. Like in Pokemon Crystal, a lot of Pokemon would get the TM for Headbutt, and the basic key was, if you're under 170 friendship, don't even bother teaching Return because Headbutt is better. That's the reason I've memorized that. It doesn't really matter as much in the newer games. I call Platinum like it's a newer game. We all know it isn't. Yeah, sorry for making you feel old. Anyway, no, I'm not sorry. Anyway, let's go take on Gardenia. Gardenia leads off with her Turtwig. I go ahead and use Return right away as she sets up Reflect. This is my chance to trap it in Encore. Although Return is doing less damage and she is able to heal, but once the Encore runs out, I can just easily use it again. But for some reason I keep forgetting this and continue spamming Return. Then on the Cherrim, I go ahead and use Return some more. I actually get a critical hit, but it doesn't really matter because it just puts her back into the full restore range. But that's fine though, I'm able to defeat it. Then on the Roserade, it uses Stun Spore, and I go ahead and Encore it into using Stun Spore, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to, and I end up getting a reset. It's really annoying me watching this back. Like, whenever I would see the Cherrim go for Safeguard when I'm in the middle of attacking it, I should just immediately use Encore again, so that way I can be at full health or close to full health as possible for the Roserade. But I'm just really rushing this fight. I did this run kind of a while ago, and I was kind of in a rush while making this. I ended up recording this run in 2 different parts, and I basically ended part 1 around the contest hall, and I continued the rest of the run the next day. So yeah, I was definitely rushing, which is why I wasn't really thinking straight. At 9 resets in though, I am able to get back to the Roserade. I go ahead and use Return, and Stun Spore actually misses. Fortunately, I see my opportunity, and I go ahead and Encore it into Stun Spore. I am paralyzed though, but this is my key to victory. Okay, Encore has let me win the Rourke fight, the Mars fight, and the Gardenia fight. Can it help with the Jupiter fight though, with the Skuntank? Let's find out. On the Skuntank, as soon as it comes out, I use Spark, and she uses Night Slash right away and actually crits me. Yeah, that was unlucky. So yeah, basically Encore is not going to help here. I was thinking she was going to turn 1 use like a status move like Smoke Screen or Poison Gas. But no, it just started attacking me with Night Slash, which is kind of annoying, but fortunately Spark gets off a clutch paralysis, Night Slash doesn't get any crits, and I am actually able to defeat the Skuntank. And as soon as I defeat it, I can learn Swift in the place of Quick Attack. This is my first special move. Technically my first one is Grass Knot, but I'm saving that for later probably. But hey, Swift special move by Level Up, I'll definitely take it. I head on down through the cycling road and get on down to Route 207. I try to get this rare candy here, but I accidentally get caught by this hiker. I wasn't prepared for it, and I ended up blacking out on this guy. Yeah, this Pokemon's gonna get a lot of unexpected blackouts, trust me. Fortunately though, I do make it all the way to Heart Home City without any major problems, and now I can go inside the contest hall, and this is where I actually stop recording and move on to part 2 of the run that I ended up doing the next day. But that's fine though, I don't make any inputs in between runs, so I still consider this legit. And now that I've resumed playing this the next day, I can go inside the Amity Square with Psyduck and get myself the Amulet coin. We're definitely going to need a lot of money for later in the game. I usually like to get the Amulet coin either for buying tons of vitamins or getting stuff from the game corner. Plus, before I fight Fantina, I actually just realized I completely forgot to get the TM for Substitute, so I end up biking through Mount Coronet, up Cycling Road, and all the way back to the old chateau. I get myself the rare candy and the TM for Substitute. Without Substitute, this Fantina fight is honestly going to be close to impossible. But now with this TM in hand, we need to go all the way back to Heart Home City and take on the 3rd gym leader, Fantina. Fantina leads off with Duskull. I go ahead and use Spark right away, but I realized I forgot to use Substitute, and I'm actually burned. I don't know why I continued to play this, but after a couple of turns I do immediately reset. But yeah, the fact that the Duskull has Will-O-Wisp is basically the main reason this thing needs Substitute in the first place, because otherwise I'm going to get consistently burned. But it's fine though, Spark is able to 2-shot the Duskull and 2-shot the Haunter, but the Haunter does break my Substitute, and I keep trying to set it back up, but fortunately, as soon as I set it back up, the Shadow Claw doesn't break it. Then on the Mismagius, Spark does less than half, which is kind of worrying, but that's okay though, because Spark gets it to low health, the Citrus Berry puts it out of full restore range, and Shadow Ball didn't really do that much because our special defense is actually pretty decent. So now, Fantina is defeated. I can then destroy the rival in Hearthome City, get this little ether in the crater right here, and then I can head into Solaceon Town. I go ahead and get the Person Berry here just in case I need it because this is the first available one you can get, and then I also go ahead and buy some Super Repels. Plus, whenever I'm in Solaceon Town in Platinum version, I like to go down these ledges here to get myself a free PP up. Honestly, this is kind of one of the more out of the way PP ups, but I'm going to be using Spark a lot, so I figured it was worth getting. Plus, I also go into the Solaceon Ruins. I'm in here mainly to grab the Defog TM, plus a few other items I can sell for money. I know some people will try and tell you that it's just worth your time to just not get the TM because it's not required. While yes, defog is not required, I am not willing to go through the foggy part of Route 210 and have all of my moves with a 60% chance of even hitting. It's like a Gen 1 Sand Attack almost, but worse. I mean, I'll probably have Shockwave, which will be just fine, but I'm not really willing to do that. Besides, I want the Nugget and Mind Plate and Odd Incense down here anyway, because these sell for decent money. I can pretty much buy an entire vitamin with these 3 items alone. Plus, this can help with the Game Corner funds too. And just before I enter Veilstone City, look at this. I'm fighting Ace Trainer Dennis, you see. I get to his Drifblim, and I'm at low HP. I go ahead and use Spark on it, and its Ominous Wind only hits me for around 10 damage or so. But then I realized I'm at 2 HP. The Drifblim has Aftermath. I was thinking, I don't think Grass Knot can activate Aftermath, but spoiler alert, it does. And because of that, I end up blacking out all the way back to Hearthome City. That is so annoying, dude. I really should have remembered to save before this fight, but I had a problem back then of not remembering to save before certain fights because I keep trying to play these lowly first stage Pokemon like they're good. I need to just take some safety precautions sometimes, you know. I end up defeating Ace Trainer Dennis, and I do get another reset on Ace Trainer Maya nearby, before I'm finally able to gain access to Veilstone City. I go ahead and pick up this PP up by the department store, as well as this PP up inside the Galactic Hideout. I also do a bunch of trainers south of Veilstone in preparation for Maylene, and once I'm at level 38, I enter Maylene's gym and go take on the gym leader. She leads off with Metatite. I go ahead and use Spark and it does about 3/4 and I get hit with Rock Tomb for the speed drop, which is going to allow Lucario to outspeed me. And I do have the TM for Thunder, which I actually did teach to Plusle, and Thunder is actually able to one-shot the Lucario, but the problem is I got hit with that Rock Tomb, so I ended up losing a decent amount of speed. What I should have done was use Thunder on the Metatite, because Thunder will one-shot it. But then next time I come back to the Lucario actually survived a Thunder, hit me with Drain Punch, and then my next 2 Thunders miss, and I end up getting another reset. Okay, what I should have done was just use Spark after that. That was just really dumb of me. Fortunately though, third tries the charm, and Plusle is able to defeat Maylene. Alright, we've had to deal with 4 difficult gyms in a row, but I'm pretty confident that the 5th gym, Wake, is going to be very easy. I'll have Thunder for his Gyarados and his Floatzel, and Grass Knot is specifically for that Quagsire. It is a very good thing this thing can learn it, otherwise I probably would have needed Hidden Power from the Game Corner. I mean, I may need it later, but still. And just before I forget, I end up going back into this route right here where I fought Ace Trainer Maya and Dennis. I cut this tree and get the TM for Shockwave. I didn't get this earlier because I had my HM users deposited back in Hearthome, so that way I could skip some mandatory double battles in the previous routes. But now that I have Shockwave, I can go ahead and bike my way down to the Velour Resort and then make my way to Pastoria. I head into the Great Marsh first thing to get a rare candy, and then I save right in front of the gym and go take on the rival. Spark is able to two-shot the Staravia, although I probably should have just used Thunder. Then the Weasel goes down to Spark, the Monferno goes down to a single Thunder, and the Roselia is going to be a 3-shot with Return because that thing did use Mega Drain. But okay, at least the rival is easy. Now, we need to take on the 5th gym leader, Crasher Wake. Crasher Wake leads off with his Gyarados. I go ahead and use Shockwave on it for the 1-shot so I don't have to deal with Thunder. And then Grass Knot 1-shots the Quagsire. I get to level 43. And then Shockwave actually 1-shots the Floatzel because, believe it or not, Floatzel's special defense is actually extremely bad. So yeah, Crasher Wake was a complete and utter 1-shot sweep. Honestly, kind of expected. Now I have to give the Psyducks here the secret potion that Cynthia gave me, and then on this foggy route right here, well, it's not foggy anymore because I used defog, I accidentally encounter these 2 Ace trainers, and their leads are Raichu and Gyarados, and these are generally very scary trainers, so I try to avoid them at all cost. But fortunately, Plusle is able to defeat them just fine, although I did get paralyzed in the process. And now we are in Celestic Town. I make a grave error and I actually forget to heal for the Cyrus fight, but not only that, I forgot to save as well. And then his Sneasel's able to defeat me and I get a quick blackout. But fortunately I have Fly though, so I'm able to easily get back. And now with Cyrus defeated, we get the HM for Surf. I can go ahead and get the rare candy south of Veilstone. And then just behind the Valley Windworks, I can actually pick up the TM for Thunderbolt. This is the only way we can get Thunderbolt outside of the game corner. If we get it from the game corner, it's going to be extremely expensive. And then I can continue surfing on the water to get to the Floroma Meadow, get myself a PP up, and a rare candy. Plus on my way to Canalave I can get another rare candy. And now we are in Canalave, we gotta take on honestly one of the harder rival fights in the game. But I do have Thunderbolt in the place of Shockwave. So Thunderbolt, Thunder, Return, Grass Knot is going to be my moveset for a little bit, but the good news is we are so close to Nasty Plot. And the whole point is, without Nasty Plot, the rival fight here is going to be really bad. So I actually use a bunch of rare candies to get to level 51, and now I can teach Nasty Plot in the place of Return. We're not really going to need physical coverage anymore. Hopefully, we are now ready to witness some complete destruction with Plusle. But it is still a first stage Pokemon, so we gotta be careful. And we can pretty much test this out on the rival right here. I go ahead and use 2 Nasty Plots to get to +4, and fortunately Thunderbolt is able to bypass the double teams, and then once it's defeated, his Heracross goes down to Thunderbolt, and then his Infernape goes down to Thunder. I wasn't really willing to see if Thunderbolt would KO, but it probably would have, and then I used Thunder on the Floatzel. And then on the Roserade, I use Thunder, even though it's resisted, but it's my best move for Grass type, so I kinda had to. But anyway, now that we first tried the rival, we can go get Strength and go take on the 6th gym leader, Byron. Remember when I said that Grass Knot could also help with Byron? Yeah, it completely and utterly destroys his entire team. Plus, Thunder can actually one-shot the Bastiodon because despite its appearances, it's actually neutral to Electric, because Rock doesn't resist it and Steel does not resist it. So yeah, Thunder ends up making great work on it, plus Grass Knot is great for everything else. The Saturn and Mars battles at the lakes don't really go interesting, and then before I go north to Snow Point, I go to the game corner and get 8,000 coins with all the money I saved from Amulet Coin. I got a second copy of Substitute because I do need it for some upcoming fights. Plus, I also do buy Hidden Power. What Hidden Power typing do I have? We'll have to wait until later in the run to see, but leave your guesses in the comments. I do teach Substitute in the place of Thunder though, because even though it is my most powerful move, Thunderbolt is just more consistent. Plus, we can always just go ahead and get the Thunder TM again. It's not that expensive. It's only $5,000. Anyway, we don't have any issues going up to Snow Point City, so now let's go take on Candace. Candace leads off with her Sneasel. It's not really the best lead. I go ahead and use one nasty plot, two nasty plots, and not a third one, because +4 is going to be enough. Thunderbolt one-shots the Sneasel, Grass Knot one-shots the Piloswine, then on the Abomasnow, I use Thunder, and it's surprisingly one-shots. I was kind of worried that was going to be a two-shot, actually. Then on the Frostlass, I end up missing 2 Thunderbolts in a row, because the Frostlass has an ability called Snow Cloak, which essentially gives it +1 evasion in hail, and the Abomasnow comes out first, so it always has hail. So yeah, essentially speaking, the Frostlass had one double team, and I missed 2 Thunderbolts. That was literally the only way I could have lost that fight. But fortunately on the next try, this doesn't happen, and I get my 7th badge. And now, just before we go take on the Galactic Grunts, we need to go inside the Veilstone department store and go buy some vitamins. And today's Vitamin of the Day isn't going to be a whole heck of a lot. I'm only able to afford 3 Carbos and 1 Iron. The Iron I just got just because I had the money to, but the 3 Calciums are because I was so close to maxing out my EVs from special attack using vitamins, so I go ahead and use as many of those as I can. The reason I'm not able to get as many vitamins is simply just because I had to spend so much money in the game corner. And now, remember all those PP ups I bought? Well, they have a purpose. I go ahead and max out my power points in Thunderbolt and Grass Knot. This is basically my moveset for the entire rest of the game, so I need to go ahead and make sure these have plenty of power points to spare. The whole Galactic hideout in Veilstone doesn't really have anything eventful going on, and nothing eventful really happens till the top of Spear Pillar. I actually get a reset on these 2 Galactic Grunts who take you on in a double battle. Normally this fight goes easy. I'm actually kinda surprised this happened. Plus, if you notice my held item, I actually have the Wise Glasses equipped. I could also get the Choice Specs later if I want to, because the Choice Specs and the Wise Glasses and the Black Glasses, if I ever need those, can be obtained from the same NPC in Celestic Town depending on the time of day. It ended up being a bit too early because remember when I did the run in 2 parts? Well, it ended up resetting my time back to midnight because I like to start my runs at midnight, so by the time I get to Celestic Town I can get the Choice Specs. So I'm unfortunately not able to use them, but honestly, the Wise Glasses were pretty much just good enough because you really don't need Choice Specs if you got Nasty Plot. Funnily enough, even though those Galactic Grunts gave me a reset, Mars and Jupiter were defeated first try. Then we can go in the Distortion World and go take on Cyrus one last time. And it is complete and utter destruction. I don't even use any nasty plots at all. I am literally just that dang strong. I mean, I could have used 1, I guess, because the Weavile did end up living. But other than the Weavile, pretty much everything else died to 1 hit. And also, if you're wondering what the Wise Glasses do, it gives you a 10% boost to all special moves. So it's not as good as the Magnet or a Miracle Seed, but it's all around good. It's okay. And now with Cyrus defeated, we can leave the Distortion World and take on Volkner. He leads off with Jolteon. I go ahead and set up a substitute to block Thunder Wave, because until Generation 6, electric types can still get paralyzed. So I go ahead and set the sub up. And now with +6, I can go ahead and spam Grass Knot, and unfortunately Grass Knot still makes contact for some reason, even though it's a special move, so I end up getting paralyzed during the substitute, but honestly, it's okay though, because I am able to defeat his team by the time my substitute breaks, so it honestly didn't even really matter in the end. Fortunately, I don't have any resets or blackouts in any of the Victory Road trainers, which is kind of a good thing. Now we are at the Pokemon League. I go ahead and heal at the center, buy some full restores, and before we take on the final 5 trainers, we gotta go take on the rival again. He leads off with Staraptor. I go ahead and use Thunderbolt just to get rid of it. Then on the Snorlax, I realized I probably should have used a Nasty Plot, But honestly, it's fine though, because Earthquake only does around half, and Grass Knot, because of its weight, is able to actually two-shot the Snorlax. But then unfortunately, the Heracross ended up living, and it is actually able to kill me. I actually kind of prepared for this mentally, because I deposit my HM users before going into the league in this game, just so there's less time in the Hall of Fame. Plus, if I end up dying to the rival, I get a free blackout, at least I get to keep the XP. On the second attempt though, I do go ahead and use one Nasty Plot on the Staraptor, and actually, the Nasty Plot is actually able to make the Snorlax a one-shot with Thunderbolt, so I honestly didn't even need to use Grass Knot. And then once the rival is defeated, now we can go take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. Aaron leads off with his Yanmega. I go ahead and use one Nasty Plot as he U-turns into Heracross. But honestly, this is fine though, because +2 is literally all I need to make his entire team a one-shot sweep. Even the Drapion actually, which is his tankiest Pokemon. But that's okay though, he's defeated in a one-shot sweep. Next up is the Ground-type Elite Four member, Bertha. Bertha is also one of the great reasons why it is a great thing that this Pokemon can learn Grass Knot. If this Pokemon could not learn Grass Knot, we'd be kinda screwed. Anyway, she leads off with Wishcash. Grass Knot is able to one-shot it. I get to level 73 over a damage rounding threshold, and then the Hippowdon comes out. I go ahead and use Hidden Power on it, and it is super effective, and I get a reset. Alright everybody, I can now reveal our Hidden Power typing. We are actually going with Hidden Power Ice. This is mainly to deal with Cynthia's Garchomp, but it does have its uses on the Bertha fight too. After realizing that the Hippowdon was able to kill me, I go ahead and use one Nasty Plot on the Wishcash, so now Hidden Power Ice is able to one-shot. And then the Golem surprisingly does not live, because with Sandstorm up starting in Generation 4, Rock types get a boost to their special defense. So it's honestly a surprising thing that it was still able to go down. But hey, I'll take it. Next up is the Fire-type Elite Four member, Flint. I will straight up say this fight would be so much worse in Diamond and Pearl because he would have a Steelix and a Drifblim, but then again, I would have Thunderbolt and Grass Knot for them, so honestly, no matter what game Flint is in, Plusle isn't really gonna have a hard time here. Next up is the Psychic-type Elite Four member, Lucian. Lucian leads off with Mr. Mime. I go ahead and use one Nasty Plot, and instead of using Light Screen, thankfully he used Reflect. And now that there's no Light Screen on the field, I can one-shot the Mr. Mime, the Bronzong, the Gallade, the Alakazam, and the Espeon. Okay, you know what's funny? Plusle is just completely destroying the league, not because it's a good Pokemon, it's literally because of Nasty Plot. Now, we can go take on the champion Cynthia and finish this run. Cynthia leads off with Spiritomb, and in solo runs it's honestly one of the best Pokemon to set up on, because Spiritomb's offensive stats aren't really that good, so I can go ahead and use two Nasty Plots. I don't use any more though because my health is starting to get kind of low, but fortunately +4 is enough. Hidden Power Ice is able to one-shot the Garchomp, and will Thunderbolt one-shot the Milotic with its high special defense? Yes it does. And also Hidden Power is also great for the Roserade as well. Then, the Togekiss can go down with Hidden Power. Hidden Power or Thunderbolt would have worked just fine. Then on the Lucario, I go ahead and use Thunderbolt, but it hit me with extreme speed. I live at 2 hit points, and now Cynthia is defeated and Plusle clocks in with a real time of 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 36 seconds, with 17 resets and 6 blackouts at level 75, with a game time in the Hall of Fame of 8 hours and 2 minutes. This thing definitely really picked up steam as soon as it got access to Nasty Plot. However though, the early game, it needing to struggle train to get quick attack, and our first special move isn't until we get Swift, it ends up being a huge problem. You may wonder why not just teach Grass Knot as soon as possible. Grass Knot does not really help us in the early game at all, and we need to save Grass Knot for up until Crasher Wake. If we had taught it too early, we would have had some moveset flexibility problems. But hey, at least the run went sorta okay. Kinda makes me wonder how Minon's gonna compare. If we take a look at the leaderboard though, Plusle, in comparison to the other Pokemon I've played so far, actually didn't even play that good. It got 11th place overall. It was only 2 minutes faster than Miss Magius. And Miss Magius started with Psywave. It had to use Psywave for Rourke. But then once it got access to some special moves, it actually started to sweep. The only thing behind that is Bulbasaur. And I feel like it's pretty obvious why Bulbasaur is in last place. It's a first stage Pokemon. But yeah, Plusle didn't really perform the best. But like I said, can't wait to see how Minun goes. And also, if you're looking at Metagross right above it and wonder why there's an asterisk next to the attempt number at number 1, this was because to show that I actually did 2 playthroughs with Metagross, and my first playthrough was actually the better time, because I got extremely god-awful luck during my 2 Metagross runs, and I ended up with 29 resets. And honestly, I mainly just blame the early game, because it's so annoying having to constantly use Takedown and Confusion, like some very mediocre moves. And what really irritated me is that I did those runs with Elite Four Alex, who I did these live via stream. We raced each other. He ended up in both of his runs getting like 7 or 8 resets, and then in my second run, I started to copy some of his strats, and I still got like 29 resets. I seriously got so unlucky at that. I may come back and visit it at some point, but definitely not anytime soon. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support me through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to these videos early and the patch files for all the backports we do on stream. Anyway, later in the week, on Monday and Tuesday, we'll be doing Pokemon Platinum with a random Pokemon, and then on Friday, we'll be doing the game live with Minun. I will see you all in the next video.